Bell Time by Sophie Tuvey, Chapter 11. It's trip day, and I'm wearing the pineapple shirt to guarantee success. I'm sitting in an oasis of calm at my desk, ignoring the mountain of paper and focusing on one sip of hot, strong tea at a time, when Michael barges in. He sees the pineapple shirt, but decides not to comment. All set for today? I give what I hope is a confident nod. Permission slips? Payments? Lists sent out to staff? Cover work? All done and dusted. I take another sip of tea. Miss Baker! 2 students from the mentor group squeak from the other door. Yes? Maisie's sick and she can't come on the trip. She texted me to ask if she can have the money back. Oh, that's a shame, I say, my calm deflating. Well, I can't really give a refund unless there's someone who can take her place. Do you know anyone? The girls look at one another. We could ask Charlotte. Great, let me know as soon as possible. They scurry off and I press my fingers to my temples. It's not a good day for a stress headache, not when I've got to drive the bus. Do you think she will be able to come at such last-minute notice? Michael asks sceptically. Probably not, I sigh. You got any ideas? Well, I think I remember you telling me this was your trip and you were going to run it. I would have had a sub-list in case anyone dropped out. I would love to throw my tea all over him, but it would be a waste of a precious commodity. What happened in the store cupboard seems to belong to the metaverse. Okay, well, thanks for your help, I say in my best sarcastic tone. The day goes on. I get a visit from the girls again, with Charlotte in tow to say that she's texted her mum and has been given permission. Right, well, we need to get the office to call because we don't have a form filled in. I send a few emails to sort that out and take a deep breath. Then Tyler appears at the door. Mr. Chase said I can come on the trip today, he announces. No, you can't. The space has been filled, I reply. Well, I just gave him the money. You had £20 in cash on you, I ask in disbelief. Anyway, I don't have a letter from your parents. I can show you a text on my phone from my dad. He pulls out his phone and starts scrolling through his messages. I can't help it. I notice the name Ben and I remember the mysterious card I found. Why was Tyler carrying more cash than he would need for school dinners? He sees my expression and I avert my eyes. See? He shows me the message. I need to speak to Mr. Chase, I say. The bell's going to go any minute and I'm on duty. So can I go then? I can't magic up another space, Tyler, I say, more snappily than I intend. And if it's between you and the other student, she's not behind on her work for me, like you are. What work? He asks, and the contempt in his tone is enough to make up my mind. Just look at your book. I pull it out from the pile and open it up. Half-finished tasks, messy presentation. Everything is half-hearted, Tyler. You want the rewards, then you have to earn them. He gives me a venomous stare and then stalks out of my room. The bell goes. Making a mental note to find Michael as soon as possible, I hurry down to the canteen. Break time duty is not a highlight of the week. There's already a heaving mass of students, and my duty buddy, Roger from the IT department, is notorious at either being late or forgetting completely to turn up. Right, everyone, line up. I start sending in students, checking they are wearing the correct uniform. I send a few away to find their tie or blazer. I can see a few students in my mentor group waiting patiently, and I give them a smile. Then Tyler saunters in, flanked by Ollie and Jaden, and tries to seamlessly cut in front of them. No chance, boys, I say. Get to the back of the queue. They exchange glances and then turn. Suddenly the queue sprawls forward, nearly knocking me over. Hey, what's going on? I steady myself and straighten up to see Michael looking appalled at the mess of a queue with kids falling all over each other. Tyler, Ollie and Jaden are standing smugly. No sense of them having stumbled. Stand back, please, and straighten the line, I say, reasserting control. Those 3 are pushing. Tyler, Ollie and Jaden erupt in protest. We did nothing. We were just standing here. I send a few more kids into the canteen to try and get the queue down. Did Tyler tell you he has the money for the trip? Michael asks. Yes, he came to see me, but I already arranged for Charlotte to go, and the office has called her mum to secure permission. She doesn't want me to go because she doesn't like me. Tyler says bitterly. He's got a bunch of unfinished work in his book, and I don't feel he deserves the place. Michael sets his jaw in annoyance. You should have spoken to me before you promised him a space on the trip, I hiss. The way he's behaving now is exactly why I don't want to take him. Tyler, this is Miss Baker's trip and her decision is final, Michael tells him. You did have your chance to get your money in when we first gave out the letters. Next time you'll have to be faster. What's the point? Tyler swings his bag over his shoulder and storms off. I look at my watch. 30 minutes before we leave. When break is finally over, I frantically take a few painkillers, drink half a bottle of water, then dash to the toilet. I grab my folder with all the forms, my teacher bag, which is a thick tote bag stuffed to the brim with papers, my coat, and go to pick up the minibus keys from the office. The minibus is a bit of a relic and smells of rugby fixtures and gone-off sandwiches. It's a battered navy colour, and the handbrake is so stiff I need to use both hands to release it. There's a knack to getting the engine started too, where I have to hold down the clutch and press a magnetic fob on a security button for 5 seconds before the ignition will work. The kids are making their usual uproar in the back, and Michael is watching me go through this process with varying degrees of "my life is in danger" horror on his face. Do you want me to? He starts. No. Can I? He tries again. No. I am not letting him drive this thing. Finally, the engine kicks into life and the kids cheer. I put the gear stick in reverse and the beeping noise begins. I wrestle with the handbrake and then ease the vehicle out of the parking space. It always takes a while to get used to driving it again. I am always in mortal terror of knocking over a pupil while we're on the school site. Is it clear back there? I call. Yeah, Connor shouts. Then there's a crunching noise. I just run over Mrs. Evans' flower pots. Apart from the flowers, Connor adds. Oh well, I mutter, putting the gear stick into first gear. The engine revs, and the bus jerks forward. I see Michael's hands clutching at the glove compartment, anything he can find to hold for added security. Did you pass the county certificate? He asks incredulously. Yes, I say, moving up into second gear. It's always a bit jumpy till it gets warmed up. I slow as we approach the school gate, and the bus judders. I put the clutch down and just avoid stalling. I try to ignore Michael and focus on the gates opening. His hands lower from the dashboard, but he doesn't relax back into the seat. Maybe he's the sort of guy who never chills out. Once we're out onto the road, I feel better, and by the time I've gone through the third roundabout, it feels more natural to drive this decrepit machine again. We get onto the motorway and manage to travel at around 60 miles an hour, though the engine sounds like an unhappy lion whose food was waved under its nose then taken away. Miss, there's something wrong with the door, one of the girls calls. Ask Mr. Chase. I'm driving, I reply. Mr. Chase, this just came off the door. Someone passes Michael a piece of rubber trimming. Very reassuring. Should I open the window to check if it's still working? No, says Michael. Too late. A gust of wind blows into the bus. Nice to have a bit of fresh air, one of the kids comments. It's freezing, the girls complain. Everyone remember the story of the play? I ask. Twin brothers, separated at birth. Can't find out they're twins, otherwise they'll die, Connor pipes up. That's pretty much it, I nod. A few songs along the way. Tell me it's not true. I start to belt out the opening number. Michael looks at me as if I've lost my mind. Come on, Mr. Chase, I say. Say it's just a story. You're doing fine on your own. You'll all be singing with me on the way back. Great. He covers his face with his hands. He reminds me of my dad. Mum loved musicals and was always singing round the house. Dad never wanted to go see a show. The familiar pang of missing my mother aches beneath my ribcage. I wonder whether it will ever go away. What are you thinking about? Michael's question jolts me back to reality. I can feel him assessing me again with his gaze, and I deliberately focus on the dashboard. Are you the thought police now? Are you comparing me to a totalitarian dictatorship? I have to look at him now to check he isn't offended. When our eyes meet, he instantly grins. I can't help it. I smile back despite myself. You don't come across as very democratic. Democracy's overrated. Michael made a joke. He starts laughing and I join in. Wow, running a trip with someone really does bring down the barriers. It takes around half an hour to drive to the theatre. Parking the bus is always interesting in the tight city spaces. I get Connor to hop out and indicate how wide the gap is between the rear bumper and the wall as I reverse. I'll get out too, Michael mutters, unclicking his belt and jumping out of the bus as if he's on fire. My driving really isn't that bad. We walk en masse to the theatre, and I take a group photo for obligatory social media PR, and then we're finally in. Michael and I end up next to each other at the end of the row. I collapse into my seat, and the lights immediately dim before a spotlight centres upon Mrs. Johnston, ready to sing. I love Blood Brothers. It's such a great show, and the kids are loving the rude jokes. I even see Michael smile too. There's just one problem. I didn't have time to take my coat off, and now I'm stiflingly hot. I decide I'm going to have to go for it, so I wait until the next song and pull down my zip, then wriggle around pulling the sleeve taut so I can withdraw my arm. I lose my grip on the sleeve and my elbow launches into Michael's face. "I'm so sorry," I whisper as he doubles over, clutching his cheek with a muffled cry. I quickly finish wrangling myself out of the coat, then lean over to inspect the damage. "Is it red?" he asks, taking his hands down so I can see. "It's hard to see." I reach up and brush my fingertips over where I think the impact was. His skin feels hot to touch, and for a moment our eyes lock. It's a good job I took my coat off, because I can feel my cheeks beginning to burn. "Sorry," I whisper again, hastily sitting on my hands to avoid further embarrassment. He shifts in his seat, and his leg is within grazing distance of mine, but not quite touching. I sit rigidly, feeling an electric charge between us, and I can't concentrate on anything anymore. I'm staring at the stage and the characters, but all I can think about is how close I am to Michael Chase right now.